For more on this story, joining us live from Ankara is Omer Ozkizilcik. He's a security analyst and non-residential fellow at the Atlantic Council. Omer, thanks for being with us. So what do you make of these latest statements by Netanyahu, doubling down on his military action and saying that the plan is to demilitarize the area south of Damascus?
I mean, Israel has been pushing for a demilitarized zone in the south of Damascus and has been very actively trying to prevent the Syrian government from establishing territorial control and sovereignty over all of Syrian territory. So this is a strategic Israeli goal. So Israel does not want the Syrian state to be in charge of all of the Syrian territory. In contrast, Israel prefers a divided, unstable, and chaotic Syria. So while the entirety of the world wants Syria to be a stable, prosperous state and does not want Syria to be in turmoil anymore, we see that Israel, and as well as Iran, very interestingly, are the only two states that oppose a stable and prosperous Syria. And the attempt by the Israeli side to prevent Damascus from having any Syrian army south of Damascus is basically an attempt to prevent state control. Because if there is no Syrian army in the south of Damascus, then what we will see that the tribal forces will rampage over the territory. We will see infighting in the south of Syria. We will see that armed militias will establish their own zones and regions of control, and we will see basically chaos. We will see a continuation of the civil war in Syria. And why this is against the interests of everyone in the world, Israel is betting on this chaotic situation because Israel somehow believes, and this is a miscalculation to my understanding on the Israeli part, that this instability and chaos is in the interest of Israeli national security, which I highly doubt.
And a very sad moment for the Syrian people, who I'm sure were very much hopeful of a road to an upward trajectory and a road to a more hopeful future. Do you think there is any hope at this point to get Syria's recovery back on track, and what will that take?
I mean, actually, Syria is on the track of recovery. We have seen millions of Syrians going back to their homes. We have seen sanctions being lifted on Syria. We have seen that the Syrian government is engaging with the international community, with several state leaders. And actually, everything was going quite well. But there was one turn in this good picture. This is Israel. Israel has been conducting over 800 airstrikes against Syrian territory since the fall of the Assad regime, and numerous incursions into the Syrian territory, kidnapping Syrian civilians. And we have also seen that Israel has expanded its area of occupation in the south of Syria. So Israel has been the major and the only real obstacle in front of stability for all of Syrians. So this is a huge issue the Syrian people face, and it will require more support from the international community. We have seen that the Arab states, Turkey, the European states, United States of America, and even China and Russia are supporting Syria to be recovered and Syria to go in a path of stability and prosperity. So it will be needed a joint coordinated effort between the Syrian people and the international community to help Syria to stand on its feet. And actually, this was also the policy of the Trump administration. So what Israel is doing now is basically tackling and undermining the policy formulated by Donald Trump for Syria.
Yes, and on that, what do you expect next from the US? I mean, what levers will they be willing to pull, especially given Trump, of course, has made it clear he's not too keen to get too involved in these issues of the Middle East?
Since the fall of the Assad regime, we have seen that, and since the inauguration of the Trump administration, we have seen that the United States of America has acted against the demands of Israel. We have seen that the US has not supported Israeli demands to limit Turkey. We have seen that the US has not supported Israeli demands to even increase sanctions on Syria and to not engage with the Syrian government. So from now, but when it comes to direct escalation, direct military escalation, then we see that somehow the United States of America is abandoning its own policy and siding with Israeli demands. So usually it was a long demand by the US administration for the Syrian state to establish full control over all of Syria. We have seen that the special envoy Tom Barrack has said that there will be no autonomous region for the Druze in southern Syria. But now the US has basically brokered a deal that enables this, that is facilitating a pathway forward for a Jews' autonomy in Syria. And this is something against the foreign policy of the US by itself. But interestingly enough, whenever it comes to direct escalation from the Israeli sides, the US is quite quick in accommodating the Israeli demands. So we have yet to see if this trend will change, if the US will continue on its initial formulated path, or if the US will be dragged by Israel into a policy that's not in the interest of the United States of America and not in the interest of the regional states. And I think here, a diplomatic joint effort by Turkey and Saudi Arabia will be very influential on convincing the Trump administration to continue to help Syria to stand on its own feet.
Okay, interesting insights there. Omer Ozkizilcik, security analyst and non-residential fellow at the Atlantic Council. Thank you.